Hello, one and all. My name is Ben Brown Jr., and I'm going to do something I typically never do, but I don't know what else to do. I'm asking for help, and it's not even for me. My sister Rachel lives in Central California. She was the caregiver for our mother, who recently passed away. I have been talking to her for the last several weeks during this whole process, and I knew things were bad. I'm only recently finding out just how bad things were for her and are. Our mother was a methamphetamine and drug addict her whole life, and became ugly, angry, bitter, hateful. And I asked my sister the last time I visited my family in 2011 to come back to Portland with me, get a start. She would love it here. She told me no, she didn't want to let Mom down. And I love my mother. Please don't think that I don't. But she put her through absolute hell. It's just the way it is. We kind of grew up and lived in this existence for so long. I left home very early, and know exactly where she's at. I've been a recovering heroin addict for 30 years. Happy to be clean. And I know the desperation she feels right now. I know the anger she feels right now. I know the despair and the hope she feels right now, especially after years of being treated poorly by our ex-partners and my mother. And I hate to just put this out there, but Mom, I love you. I will always love you. But as I always said, Rachel, it's not your tragedy. My sister always told me the same thing over and over for years. I don't want to let her down. Who's going to be there for Mom? Well, I recently found out that she lives in a really ugly part of town, Fresno, in a dilapidated trailer. The place, she just texted me using her boyfriend's phone. It has no electricity, it has no heat. There's something wrong with the plumbing, and it's affected everything else in the house. She has no money, as she was my mother's in-home caregiver, and my mother, between that and my mother's Social Security, it's all they had to live on. Without that, she now has absolutely less than zero. None of the rest of my family can help. They have their own challenges, problems, lives. I'm not angry or bitter about any of that. I wouldn't even be asking for this money if I didn't have it or couldn't take it alone, but I had to take out 2 small loans just to be able to pay for my mother's funeral expenses, so I do this myself. My sister needs help. Desperately. I can't tell you that any stronger that this is truly her most desperate hour. She feels that everyone has abandoned her, that she feels that everything she's had to suffer for, especially for the last several years, taking care of our very ill mother, that means nothing. She has no hope. And as someone who has been there, there may be no worse feeling than that. I'd say worse than being starving. I went to fly down to Fresno. I messaged her recently and I told her I'm going to fly down to Fresno and get you, Rachel, and get you back up here. And you know, my partners and I, Travis and Ron and our little 14-year-old pug Gypsy, we live in a very small apartment in central Beaverton. And I work for a nonprofit. I don't make a lot of money. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I love the things that we accomplish. And it's all the things, right? I hate asking for this. I want to take that back. I don't hate asking for this. I need to ask for this. Because there's no hate in what I'm trying to do right now. Our mother's death just unleashed a whole cataclysmic set of tragic circumstances that are getting worse. What has compounded this issue is that she is living, or I guess is staying with her. I don't know what their true relationship is. He's an ex-con, a violent felon, and has threatened myself and my family recently for trying to help her. I know that going down there may be dangerous, and I don't care. I want my sister to know that somebody gives a damn. You were there for Mom, Rachel. I want to be there for you. This man has ties to a very dangerous gang in Fresno called the Bulldogs as well. I don't know if I'll even be successful. But there hasn't been a moment recently that I keep staring at my cell phone. I keep it in my pocket at work, and I just fear for that voicemail or that text message or some news report that something horrible has happened to her. Because her story is not uncommon, unfortunately. She has no resources. She has no real education. She has not a lot of marketable skills. She feels trapped because she is. And she's with a violent man. And I asked her recently, I hope he's treating you well. And she says, well, most of the time he's nice, which gives me pause. Her father, my stepfather, was a very abusive man, beat my mother often. And people repeat these cycles because they think that it's normal. All I'm asking for is an opportunity to help my sister understand that this is not normal, that you have value. And I can't even promise her or any of you that when she gets here that things won't go south. It's not sunshine and puppies and glitter, right? There's no promises to that. Believe me, it took me a long time to get off smack. And a long time to realize that I had value. And I am grateful for the people, especially my husband Travis, that made me realize that. I'm hoping to get her up here, get her clean, and get her started on a path to not just continued recovery, but to get her skills that will get her marketable. Unlike in Fresno, at least here in Portland, there are jobs. There are a lot of them. And maybe not the greatest jobs at first, but you know what? I know that working, and that's why I work for Goodwill Industries, that there's a real value into being able to provide for yourself and to work, and that there's just, it feels good to get up and do that, especially for something you absolutely love. I know this is how many of you may not have the money. It's the holiday season. I just want to say a couple of things before we go. I know this video has run on too long. It's been hard for me to focus. I just want to say this. Please give what you can if you can. And if you can't, and all you can give your thoughts and prayers and love, then please do so. Because right now, that's the only thing that's keeping me going. Stevie Wonder once wrote, "Love is the force behind the power." Thank you all very much. Please help my sister. Please help me help my sister. This is her most desperate hour. Thank you all, and love to you all. Happy holidays.